marriage is a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something like what can you purchase and it takes no maintenance and it takes no upkeep and it takes no rotating of the tires, no tune up. Like what can you purchase and it doesn't? I'm thinking of an object to give you an example of what marriage is not. It takes work, man. It takes work, and it takes the type of commitment that it's okay. It's the type of commitment where two people have to say to themselves that I am going to love and appreciate the version of my significant other that I have today. And I'm going to be committed to loving whoever it is that they become. Right? Like that's a big deal. That's a big deal. You know what I mean? Because I can say, I'm not going to speak in a disparaging way. Even though I'll be speaking in the past tense, I'll still speak of my way. I'll speak of myself in the past tense in a disparaging way. I can say that every version that my significant other has had of me isn't one that I'm sure she's enjoyed very much, right? But there's this nature of committing to who you're with and being open to committing to the person that they're growing into, and that is a tough thing, particularly, watch this, in the public eye. Man, that's hard. It is hard, and it is the question. I mean, so many questions come to light when you begin to talk about a divorce of public figures. The first thing for me is like, man, I can't help but think what happens when we keep our relationships private. It's like, man, that helps in a lot of cases. And so it's challenging. And then there's another challenge that exists within the context of this relationship that may not exist within most. Kandi's the breadwinner. She's the draw, right? She's the draw. She's the breadwinner. You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm also questioning and wondering if relationships work rather long term when the woman is the draw. And listen, that's not a dig at women. That's not a dig at women, because certainly women can do what it takes to become the breadwinner. That's obvious, and it's proven in what we're looking at. But I I'm my angle is more so the psychological angle, right? Like, because the pressure that is associated with being like the philosophical leader, the protector, the person who leads and takes on the criticism. I believe, this is my theory, I believe that type of temperament is built over years. I don't believe it's the type of temperament that you can acquire with education, so to speak. I think that at least generationally, at least in the Western civilization, I think this idea of constant criticism, I think this idea of sometimes maybe people, and this may be an element of African American. This may also be an element of the African American experience, but where you are looked at from the perspective of what you don't do. Um, when you're looked at from the the mental position of what your family is or is not is up to you, right? Because typically speaking, like what becomes of a family is the man's reputation, generally speaking, right? Not all, obviously these cultural lines are being removed and moved, but I'm just talking about in the last 40 to 50 years. You know, if the family is no good, if the children aren't what they're supposed to be, that's a negative representation on the man. And so now, as we fast forward to 2025, and you see women, lovely, talented, beautiful women like Miss Kandi, um, leading their families, and in doing so, placing themselves in harm's way as it regards to the criticism and the expectation. Not is it can you acquire the money, the notoriety, the fame, right? Right? Can you Can you make a business profitable, right? That's one element. Can you put up with the mental pressure of cementing your legacy, right? You know what I mean? Like, for example, Arch Manning. This is out of left field, right? And so, but just hear me out. Arch Manning making it to Division I football was two things: his father's doing and his father's legacy. You see what I mean? The success of the next generation is something that is looked at as something that the man has to do. And therefore, watch this, when it does not come to fruition in the way that it should, the man faces the criticism. And so again, the question or the theory that I'm pushing at or probing at is, and again, I don't know them personally. I know absolutely nothing about it as the reason why they split. I'm just processing this as a fan, as an onlooker, just like you are, right? And I'm asking myself, is the pressure of cementing the legacy of a family something that should fall on a person who has not been brought up to be accustomed to the amount of pressure that it